In an effort to get Jason back to New York City in a timely manner tonight, we have him almost at the top of the list, so I'm going to turn the floor over to Jason. He's with
Michael Van Valkenburg.
Michael Valkenburg
Yeah. No, it's
Sorry
quite a
about that.
mouthful. So I'm
Yeah.
Jason Siebenmorgen with Michael Van Valkenburg Associates. But you know the Mikey Van, I think, from up here. So thank you. It's a treat to be able to come back. It's been I think it's been a couple years since we came and presented our plan for the concept plan for Pratt Rock Park. And I do apologize, I derailed our last meeting, but I'm up and running again, so glad to be here this evening. I basically just wanted to kind of give an update where we are from this initial concept plan. And one of the things that we laid out in this was the real importance of preserving the stones, right? The carvings are what make the park, and that's what the attraction is for the park in its main core. So we put a lot of emphasis on that in our plan, and then you were able to hire ICR, Integrated Conservation Resources, and they came and did an initial needs assessment. So we have this giant document. I think you've seen it. I mean, it's
pages.
Exactly. This is just a selection of some of the images. I know it's very daunting when you see this giant report and it's like, okay, pictures of a bunch of white flaky rocks. But it's actually a really important document to have now. It's something that we haven't had up until this point. But we have detailed images of every little bit of stone and different carvings. I don't know if any of you noticed when they were doing the work, but they actually hired a company that abseiled down from the top of the rock so they could get to some of the more isolated carvings, because it's rather tricky up there on the rock face. So we have this incredible body of data now to work from. All in all, things are not too bad. There are areas where the stone is failing. There's a lot of fragments coming off. One of the biggest issues is the coating, the white coating that really makes the carving stand out from afar, which is really important to the design, the original intent. So that's something that we're looking at through ICR. They did actual chemical analysis and looking at the layers of the different paint over time. So they have a pretty good idea of what was there. And now they're interested in a next step where they're actually going to come in and test some of the cleaning chemicals and some of the potential whitewash materials to bring back this white coating on the carvings to bring them out. And it's been our intent from the beginning that the stones are just stabilized. So this is not like trying to restore it back to its original state, because it's too far gone from that, and it's really not the character of what the park is. So the idea is to actually just stabilize the stone so there's no more degradation, and it will last for years and years to come. We can put back the nice bright white coating and you can see the carvings from afar. So that's kind of the status of the carvings in that first initial investigation. Again, I'm with Michael Van Valkenburg Associates. We're landscape architects who are really interested in the larger park, not just preserving the stone, but it is a park. And there was actually a very clear design. We have incredible records of the park and its original design, and this route up, the kind of zigzag path that gets you up to see the carvings themselves. You can see here in the plan. So this is, again, from our initial concept report, but looking at what, this route up, and I think it would be really nice if we proceed, and hopefully when we proceed with preserving the stone, the carvings themselves, that going hand in hand with that, there's some work done to the trail and actually getting the public involved in the process of the preservation. So it's not like close off the park, fix it, reveal it when it's all bright and white and shiny again, but actually take this opportunity to start making these kind of small steps with the landscape and restoring that. I think you probably all know there are a number of benches carved in live rock that occur up the way. So that would be part of that first phase of actually restoring the grading. There's a lot of erosion around the benches. But I think there's a very simple way of approaching that, using local materials and really just kind of bringing it back to a very stable state. So it's not some big change to what it was, but just kind of stabilizing it. And then maybe even a little extra planting can start to happen around those benches themselves that kind of sets things in motion. So it's really like these are small steps that we can build on. It will offer up more grant opportunities. As you prove that you've got something, you've made a few steps to secure something, then you get a lot of interest. Then people are like, hey, maybe I would like to donate a little money to the project too. So that's really what we're hoping for, is to set this in motion. So there's the detail of the carving, there's the larger park that we're interested in, there's the access that I just described, but there's also these terraces, which I think are quite unique. Michael himself, grew up in Lexington, and he recalls as a kid driving past Pratt Park and really being taken with these series of terraces with lines of trees. So there's this little bit of formal landscape in a very natural and agricultural setting. So that's another element that can come, down the way in the future. And then also the actual entry, like when you arrive at the parking area, what's the signage? The picnic tables are a great idea. You come with your kids, you can just turn them loose and they can run around the picnic tables a few times before you head up the hill, take a little break. But we really believe that this whole piece can be a real magnet to draw people to Prattsville, because it's really unique. I mean, it's an incredible war monument, and it's just an unusual, amazing piece of art that really, should be utilized to draw people in. So there are those two elements, but then I also want to back up to a larger scheme, because you have a number of fantastic green spaces around, and then also you have the DEP land that has trails coming that we can connect into. So you can come visit the rocks. You can also do a nice hike. You have access to the water in a couple places potentially. So it's really about looking at, I think this comes out of your larger plan after Irene, like, what are we going to do? What's the long-term vision? I think this really fits into that, and that Pratt Rock itself is kind of a core piece of that. So you could connect all these different green spaces. They can develop in different ways, whether it's a public park, more sports fields, more natural areas. It's my understanding that there's a nice waterfall here in Huntersville Creek. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have not yet get to see that. But it's really just like tapping into, so I've been here a couple times. I've never seen the waterfall, but now, you could really create a connection for people who do show up and want to visit Pratt Rock, that then they can get over and see this beautiful natural waterfall. So I think just kind of next steps, sorry, I'm being kind of quick because I know you have a lot on your agenda tonight, but next steps I think would be to solicit a proposal from ICR, so really get the details about the potential costs and the approach to preserving and stabilizing the stone now that we have all of this information collected in the first step. And then also our firm could then do a proposal for these first steps with the landscape. So stabilizing the path and allowing access and getting the public a little more involved in the process. Because I think the process of actually restoring this is fantastic too. You could have, the educational opportunities are incredible through geology, preservation, history. It's all layered there. And nature, they're scraping moss off the stones because the moss is actually deteriorating the stone. So there's a lot of little nuggets that you can work with there. So I think it's those two elements. I think if we can proceed with getting a couple proposals, that will give you a little more information to make decisions, right? And move forward. And again, we can really take this in small steps. So it's not one big lump, but something that can grow with the community as it develops more. So I really would like this to be a conversation. I know you folks know this place so well. So if you have any concerns or questions just about the approach to the park itself, or if the board has any specific questions about the report on the restoration, I'd be happy to try and answer that.
You say
Yes.
involving the public in the development, what would that look like? What
So-
would we as citizens do?
Well, part of it is just allowing better access. So as you know the park as it is today. If you start restoring the carvings at the top and then you go up to visit, you heard something's going on, you come to visit, the path has been stabilized and repaired a little bit, the drainage is better, it's not getting washed out, and then you encounter one of these random stones that you've always seen off to the side, but you can actually go sit on that stone because it's a carved bench, and now the grade has been brought up and you actually can interact with that.
So you're more talking about the utilization of it, not the creation.
Exactly.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, sorry.
Waterfalls also are, as far as I know, are pretty much private, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah, they-
Officially private,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they have like the path, the trail, the path that goes up there is it stays on DEP property, but you can see the falls. Obviously, there's signs there that says "Do not trespass," but I'm not sure that people will listen.
I've done it.
They always follow the do not trespass signs.
That's how they work, right?
They do.
Unfortunately.
No parking.
They do, and the no parking, yes.
No parking is another,
No leaving junk and garbage.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
always follow the signs.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a key part of this piece here, you know, you being able to provide a place for waste, and it's right outside the car, so you don't track it up the hill and leave it somewhere along the way.
Are you talking about the waterfall by the water tower?
Yeah, it's
Is that-
Huntersfield Falls. It's Huntersfield Falls.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you. I appreciate your time, and I really am very excited about this project. So I hope that I can come back again and give you more updates as this progresses and we get further and further along with it.
One more thing.
Yes?
You and your firm are involved in every stage of it?
Yes, so we're involved, definitely. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.